Wonder Woman issue 11, legacy number 811, Tom King writing with Tony S. Daniel on the art. So, while Superman was a step up from the regular Williamson stuff doing the event tie-in, this is the opposite, where it's a downturn because I love Tom King's Wonder Woman run, and then this is like, I mean, this is okay. It's not terrible, but it's...
I will tell you, my biggest takeaway from this is I never want to read Charles Dickens.
I actually have to confess, after about 4 pages, I stopped
reading it too.
Yeah, I stopped reading the robot's dialogue because I just...
Me too.
Yeah, I don't need to read it. I get it. He's quoting something. It doesn't matter. I'll just read. Detective Chimp figures it all out. I'll read his findings.
What got me too was the clicks and the ticks. It made it hard to get a reading rhythm.
That's what the problem was. Is that it was just really annoying to read it with all those extra little bits. So what was weird about this is that the Task Force 7 issue 1 from last week actually set after this issue, which was a little confusing at first.
Yep.
Because this starts off, Wonder Woman's chilling with Detective Chimp. I actually didn't realize right away that it was Billy Batson that was sitting here.
Okay.
Because there was nothing to really go on,
No.
In the first page, but yeah. So Madame Zadu's there, Constantine's there, Mary Marvel's there as well, and they're basically just playing cards. There's some banter, and then an Amazo robot shows up to fight them, particularly to come after Wonder Woman. And most of the issue is the fight, right? And it's establishing some key things to the characters, namely that because the robot has drained Constantine of his magic powers, he then uses like a Constantine-style spell to teleport the captain all the way to France. So then Wonder Woman realizes this and is like, "Oh, hey, Spectre, don't." He's also there, by the way. Spectre.
Yeah, he was. I thought it was Jason Blood, right? Because of the white hair, and it turns out that it's
Corrigan.
It's whoever the Spectre is right now. I forget the name.
Yeah, Jim Corrigan. They say the name.
Corrigan. Thank you. Yeah, it was Corrigan.
So it's mostly fighting this issue, so it doesn't feel as substantial and like it's fleshing things out as much as the Superman tie-in issue is. It feels a bit more like, oh, there's a lot of action. The artist is getting to spread some, and the art's only okay, to be fair.
That's Tony S. Daniel's a pretty decent artist. I just hear it. I don't think it's his top-notch work. It feels very much like fill-in.
Joe, what's really strange about it is that I actually thought the first few pages where they were just sitting at the table and like they were making the little wisecracks, I thought those pages looked really good. I thought the page where they're all standing up and ready to fight looked good. But once the fighting started is where I felt it started to fall a little bit flat for me, because all of a sudden the faces weren't as well defined and they didn't look as good. The layouts weren't... Well, the actual layout of the panels were fine, but it was just the actual...
bridging of the action and whatnot to them. It's a little bit off. That said, he draws a really good Detective Chimp. I'll give him that. Detective Chimp looks pretty great in most of the panels that he's in. But yeah. Yeah, honestly, I have very little to add to this, because it basically just ends in a place where Billy and Mary like go back to kid form, and Wonder Woman tells them to run away because they're kind of like they're more vulnerable as superheroes right now. So they run off. I did like a little moment towards the end where you hear the sound effect, and it's actually Detective Chimp just making monkey noises. How do you make Detective Chimp more of a threat as you take away his intellect and just turn him into a regular chimpanzee? You know, and he's trying to rip the face off the Amazo. Like, I like that. That was probably my favorite element in this issue. But then the issue just ends. Like, there's no like build up to a good climax. It didn't really feel like a final page. It's just like all of a sudden the to be continued text was at the bottom of the panel, and I went, okay, like. I enjoyed the first couple of pages because of the banter between characters, but like the rest of it was just a bunch of fighting. It didn't really add anything that we didn't already know to the story of Absolute Power. So it is making me ask questions about these Amazos, right? Because like we saw in that Task Force 7 one that it took on the elements of the Super Family, and then here this one takes on elements of Diana once it grabs the lasso, right? So I wonder what's going on with these Amazos. So at least pushing that part of the story is working. Well, I think the problem with that is, though, the main way it does that is this thing where it keeps quoting Dickinson, and that's Dickens, sorry, and that's fine,
but that was the annoying part to read. So I wasn't sitting going, oh, what does this mean? Is there thematic links about what's going on in this quoted text from the novel or whatever? Instead, I was just like, oh, this is annoying. I'm not going to read these bubbles. So
but it's when it absorbs the lasso, right? As it's quoting best of times, worst of times, right? Then it takes on that form of this Wonder Woman themed Amazo robot. So that's what I mean by that. Like, what is going on with these more? Yeah. But they're taking on the aspects of only certain things. It's absorbed, Constantine and the Shazam, both of them, Mary and Billy, before it even gets to the lasso's power.
Yeah, I think the difference between this and Superman is Superman was given as a taste of the world after the issue of Absolute Power. This instead went back into like before the end of Absolute Power and just gave us one of those fights for the entire issue. And that was far less interesting. It didn't really add that much to the overall story. So I hope the next issue of this does something a bit more interesting with how it maybe focuses on Diana without her powers or whatever. I don't know, but hopefully it's a little bit better than this. So so hit and miss with the event tie-ins, but
did you read the backup?
I did read the backup. Obviously, the backup is the normal backup. It's the young Lizzie with the Damien and John, and I couldn't help but feel that this entire backup was making fun of Taylor Swift fans.
I don't know if it's making fun of Taylor Swift fans, but it's pointing out the cultish devotion to Taylor Swift, which I thought was funny.
To explain the plot of this, young Lizzie is standing in line at a concert with Damien and John, and Damien's complaining because he finds this music to be, well, shit. And it's clear from the way Lizzie's dressed that this is Black Canary, right? This is a Black Canary concert. And they're going in, and Damien's just criticizing the music and everything else, but they've got, like, reserved seats because, hey, their parents are in the Justice League. They've got connections to Black Canary, right?
The thing that I liked, here's his rationalization is my mother kind of knows Dinah's manager. She killed some people for him, right? Because so Talia, there was a hit that the manager called in, and so the league dealt with it, and now you can free tickets forever.
Also, your aunt's like Barbara Gordon, and it's like her best friend. Maybe that would also be a route Damien to take.
Here's my thing on this too: is I understand they wanted to make the Black Canary as a rock star thing, and Dinah. I don't know how this fits into her character though. With the birds and all of that other stuff.
I don't think it does. I think it's just for the joke of the story.
And that's fine, because I remember the DCU, the YOU. That was a mini or a maxi. It was a limited series.
To be honest, though,
it was pretty good.
Yeah, to be honest, though, the idea that this is still regular Dinah, and I think it makes what happens funnier, that Damien's basically trash talking her until she comes out on stage, and then his eyes widen and he's in love because Dinah's this beautiful woman to him, and he's somehow still a teenager despite the fact that Lizzie's already like 12 or something. That's weird.
I feel like something they're gonna show with Lizzie. I don't think she's aging at a normal pace. Judging by the art, I don't think. Yeah,
she probably jumps to like 8 immediately or something like that. I don't know, but.
And so whenever she ages, like John, because we've seen John and Damien a little bit older when she's like, she looks like she's closer to her 20s, and they look like they're in their late 20s. So. I'm sure at first I thought that was a flaw in Ortega's art. Now I think it's a stylistic choice, right?
Yeah,
it's telling us something about the story.
Anyway, the joke is that Damien basically falls in love and is just staring at her with the big goo eyes the entire concert, which is why I say it's funnier to me if this is still the Dinah who works with their parents all the time, because like this effectively could be another auntie to him, but he just doesn't have that connection. So he's just fallen in love with this grown woman, and when she notices him in the crowd and asks him up on stage, and says, "Hey, come up and help me. What's your name, Damien? Oh, hey, I always thought it'd be funny to have a sidekick. Would you like to be my Robin?" And he just like melts.
Okay.
It's just funny to see Damien lost for words, have him be humbled, kind of thing. And then the joke at the end is that he's singing. Well, not the end, but when they leave the concert, he starts singing the songs that she was singing. So now John's the one that's
like
left.
A green like a Green Arrow.
Yeah, now John's the one that feels like left out because
Isolated.
he was sticking up for Lizzie's obsession before, but now it's weird. And then the final joke is that they're in a big fight with Mongol, and Mongol's like, "Hey, I already fought your parents. I'm going to kill this generation." And basically, Damien and Lizzie are just talking about the new album or whatever. And eventually, Mongol stops fighting and starts debating with them on the new Black Canary album, or what the best Black Canary album is. And the final panel is just John looking confused and like, what the hell? That's the whole joke.
I love that he goes, you have to forgive them, they're canaries. And Mongo's just like, they are? And then he starts melting about that. And I thought that was real funny. I wish there was a credit to Mitch Gerrits, because he was the source for all things Taylor Swift for King when King's writing this.
I don't know. The word
I'll back Matt up on that.
Referring to the fans as canaries just sounded all like Swifties to me. So that's
100% of what it is. But when you look at some of the stuff they're saying, if you are cued into Taylor Swift, it is clearly like King's writing with that knowledge in mind, and he doesn't strike me as somebody, or who, even his kids might not even be Swifties, but Gerrits is his longtime, collaborative partner. So there's just stuff in here about the she's going back and adding bonus tracks and re-releasing stuff. There's stuff in the concert that are, again, if you know, but if not, I don't think it gets in the way.
I mean, I didn't know
the delivery.
Which is why I summed all that dialogue up as they're talking about an album or something.
Yeah. But I thought it was very funny. It was much more of an enjoyable read than the main part.
Yeah, because this isn't taking a break. This is still just doing the regular backup. It's not the best backup they've done. I mean, the Kite Man one last time was way funnier to me.
Yeah.
But still entertaining.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Hell yeah. What are you rating Wonder Woman, Matt?
I'm gonna give this I'll also go 7 on this one. And it's mostly for the backup.
Yeah, I can't rate it the same as Superman. I think the backup will probably eke it up to a 6, but it is what it is. I guess we just have to struggle another couple of months before we're back to the main story.